The next module I want to look at is called URL lib, or URL lib2, which is its successor module. So in this case, so what does URL lib allow you to do? Well, basically, it allows you to interact with websites. So it will let you fetch the content from a web page. So let's see an example, and this example has to do with Wikipedia. So if I take this URL and I go to Wikipedia and I cut it and paste it, then it gives me just some random page on Wikipedia. Okay, so each time I get forwarded somewhere else and I get some content. And you can see this is really, truly random. So what my program will do is that it will fetch this, and then it will start looking at the different parts of the page, and it will just give the first paragraph of the page. So in this case, this information about a Colombian racing driver. In the next example, something about a district in Swaziland. Okay, hard to be more random than this. So how does it work? Well, first I have to define this URL, this magical URL that gives me a random page on Wikipedia, and I have to import URL lib2. Okay, and I have to define an opener. So this is URL lib2 slang for some guy who will go fetch a page for me, and I have to define some headers, and this has to do with Internet Protocol. I basically have to tell Wikipedia who I am. And Wikipedia has policies for this. And the policy is that you should define a user agent and say what your purpose is. So my purpose here is a URL lib example. Okay, so whenever I fetch a page using this, that's what my computer will tell Wikipedia. Hey, I want a page for my URL lib example. Okay, so then I define a function called explore. And I don't want to go into what explore does yet, but if the last bit is if the name is main, so if this is run from the command line essentially, then I will run explore with the command line argument. And otherwise, I will, and if there is an argument, then I'll use explore with that command line argument. Otherwise, I'll use the default value. And the default value is precisely that Wikipedia address, that random Wikipedia address. Okay, so turns out I didn't use URL, so maybe I should write it like this. This would be better. So I'm using the random URL if by default. Okay, so what does explore actually do? Well, explore will go open the data. So it will use the opener to open the URL, and then I have essentially something that is like a file at this stage that I can read. And so I read it in, and I get all the data. So what data do I get? Well, I get exactly what I would get if I use the source, if I look at the source. So I would get all this. Okay, and this is kind of hard. It's hard to go and look for a specific part of the page. So to compensate for this, I use another package. And this other package lets me access the page in a specific way. So here I have the exact same thing. I have the source again, but I have parts that I can open and close. And each time I select something, it gives me all the stuff that is associated to that. Okay, so here you see that associated to that is this whole area, which is clearly too much. Okay, so what do I do then? Well, now I have read in the data, and I'll import a package called Beautiful Soup. So this might not be defined this might not be installed on your computer, but it is installed on a ThinLink machine. And the Beautiful Soup, what does it do? Well, it will go and extract some specific part of the data that I've read in. So it will first look for HTML, then body, and then it will find a div whose ID is content. Okay, so let's see what happens here. It will first go into HTML, and then body, and then find a div whose ID is content. So far I'm here, and the part I want is actually still in there, right? So it's highlighted when I go over it. So that's good. But I have still selected too much. So do I want the ID here? No. The ID here? No. Here? No, that's too high, but we're getting closer. I want the ID body content. So I go here, and after finding the div content, I want the ID body content. And then I want to go in further and go for MW content text. So let's go in body content and then MW content text. And you can see that this is really getting close to the first line here that I want, right? And then what I really want is this first paragraph. So this is it. That's the part I want. And to access it with Beautiful Soup, I just type to get the first paragraph, right? This is the tag here. Okay, so once I've done that, then I have everything that's within this /p and this p and this /p, right? So I get all that. I still get junk in terms of tags and all this. So to compensate for this, I ask to print soup.getText, which basically extracts the text. So enough talking. If I run this Wikipedia tidbit, it will just basically, so maybe I use this specific address first, just to show you. Oops. Something's wrong. It's because I have a bracket in my command line, so this should do it. And here I get indeed the first part of here, this first line. Okay, a census of 19,000. Okay, great. So if I run it without the URL, then it will go fetch a random URL and tell me that Doomsday 2000 may refer to. And then we don't know because we're out of the paragraph. So a screecher is a sail that combines the feature of a spinnaker and a reacher. Did you know that? Well, that's a Wikipedia tidbit. And then I can run it again and again and again and get more and more tidbits. It's kind of fun, actually. So my point here is I spent some time showing you this URL lib2 package and this Beautiful Soup package or module. And the point is really to show you that Python is a very general purpose language. You can do all kinds of different things with it, including things that have nothing to do with mathematics, things that are useful outside of mathematics. You can build websites with Python. And at the same time, you can also import mathematical modules, and you can start doing very deep things. So that's what makes Python really great, is that it can do a lot of things, but it's not committed to one area. Unlike, for instance, MATLAB or Mathematica, where it would be much harder to build something like this Wikipedia tidbit, the edX website, or YouTube itself.